Welcome into episode 4 of Brighter Day with A and A. We are here, y'all, to talk about money today. But before we dive into, talking about money and bringing in our special guest, our first guest on our show, I know both of us are so excited about it. We are going to give you all our quote of the day. Hopefully you all are doing good, doing just fine. And as we start off, we're going to continue to monitor the chat. So if you have any questions throughout the episode, make sure that you drop them in our comments section there. But we're going to start off with our quote of the day. Anna?
You will either learn to manage your money or the lack of it will manage you. Dave Ramsey said that. I mentioned him in our last episode. He is a finance guy that a lot of people trust. He has some great tips. So we have a special guest because I don't know if y'all remember our first episode where I said we were going to talk about topics that we may not know a lot about.
Yes.
We do not claim to be money experts. We are not millionaires around here.
Not at all.
But we can bring you local experts that can answer your questions, and we hope to learn some stuff too.
Yes. So,
all right, are you ready to learn?
I think we are ready to learn. We're going to give our guest a round of applause.
Yes.
As Anna welcome him
all right,
in.
So our
Thank
guest
you.
today is Jerome Trahan with First Mississippi Federal Credit Union. So, come on out, Jerome.
No.
Welcome.
You have
Entrances
won.
are not my thing. Let me reach behind you.
Yes,
there
sir.
We go. How are y'all?
Good, great. How you doing? Glad to have you here
Oh
on
my
Brighter
gosh.
Day.
Thank you so much
Yes, sir.
for having me on your show, and I hope this is not the last time based on my performance.
Are you having a bright day today?
I am now having a bright day.
Oh, that's our
great.
goal. That's our goal.
We want to make sure though before you continue to start that that everybody can hear you well. So if y'all can in the chat, if y'all hear Jerome speaking, we're gonna let him talk a little more. Give us some thumbs up, drop in the comments and say yes, we can hear him, just to make sure the sound is good. Okay, you can go ahead.
Yep.
All right, so tell the people who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Jerome Trahan. I'm the marketing director at First Mississippi Federal Credit Union. And, our credit union, like many other credit unions, are very, very deeply empathetic to our members. We have about 10,000 members. There are several credit unions in our area, but, our stock and trade is trying to help people make it in life. Whether it's buying a car, buying a home, a small loan to help you get through a situation. But now we received some funds this year that allow us to go out and teach financial literacy. And we'll be having some, lending products like certain home loans and eventually commercial loans that'll be, a small business kind of startup.
Yeah.
But right now we're focused on educating the community. And I mean from school-age kids to elder adults about financial literacy.
Yeah.
And the Dave Ramsey quote is really, really true. If you don't handle your money and your budgeting, then that budgeting and money will handle you.
I have felt that firsthand.
I was going to say, I know I have for sure too.
Yes.
Well, and I've laughed, we talked about this in pre-production, that, my friends, banker friends in particular, when they hear me talking about financial literacy, I know they go, wow, Jerome, really? But actually, I'm the perfect person to do it. I've been there on the struggle bus. I'm really the new face of the middle class in this country. We're all struggling to make it. COVID was a big factor, but I do think we're better than we were a few years ago, and things are looking up. So this is the perfect time to give people the skills to make their money work for them.
Absolutely. Can somebody comment if y'all can hear Jerome? Like, can y'all hear him clearly? Do y'all need to hear him more clearly? Aviana, does our sound look good?
The sound is looking good. I'm watching it here to make sure that you all can hear him, and from what it's looking like it's picking up just fine. We have one comment in the chat already. It's my mom saying hey. So hello there, Mom. I'm glad you can join us on Brighter Day today as we talk about money and financial literacy. Literacy, Jerome is going to break it all down for us.
Yeah, so can you tell us how people can be smarter with their money? You don't have to have a lot of money to be smart with your money, right?
You really don't. And being smart with your money is the key. And learning the skills at whatever age you are to help you manage that money will go 1,000 miles. I'm not a person that loves a budget. I've always said, I don't make enough money or have enough money to budget it, but that's not true. Even if you have an irregular income, like you're a salesperson based on commission, or service industry, where your tips and how busy you are at work really make a difference. There is a way, and the way that they tell us to do it is to put all your expenses out there, everything, your car insurance, your car note, power, food, gaming, whatever it is, lay it all out there. Then you take the amount of money you make, and of course your income is your power, right?
Absolutely.
And so the more you make, the more power you're going to have. Managing it properly, though, is the key to it. So once you put that irregular budget down, and say you don't get all the way down, you only get to car insurance. Well, you're not making enough money, so you got to find other ways to make that money. More odd jobs, another side hustle, look to a different job. But financial understanding and literacy is all about controlling your position. Budgeting is a way to make sure that you don't overspend. Credit is a way that a lot of people, extend the amount of money that they can spend, and sometimes that is the worst idea on the planet, right? You get upside down. That's another bill you have to pay. So again, this structuring and budgeting your money, and Dave Ramsey talks about those 4 walls, transportation, utilities, shelter, and food. And he also has a plan where you take a zero-based budget is not having zero money in your account. Zero-based budget is where you take your savings and put that aside first. You're giving, whatever that is. It could be tithing to your church. It could be putting money in a fund to eventually give to a nonprofit that you really like in our community. Then from there, that's the zero. What happens is, as the time moves on, you begin to build up money in your savings and build up money in this giving fund. And then everything else that we talked about, the 4 walls, the prioritizing, come from there. And if you'll put the money that you're going to spend on entertainment, Dave uses envelopes. If you'll put that money aside and only spend that money on entertainment, you'll find pretty quickly that your money is starting to grow. You have a sense of peace, because you're not just upside down trying to pay your bills all the time.
That goes exactly with what we talked about last episode. I'm glad you talked about prioritizing those 4 walls, the 4 main things. So you may not have time to get a side job or a side hustle.
Right.
You may have that income, and that's all the money you have. So you might have to get rid of some of those things that aren't a necessity, like your Netflix subscription or something like
going
that.
to get your nails did or something in that nature.
I've already had to get rid of that one
Sometimes you have
myself.
to skip out a month or 2.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not getting into the nail thing.
You don't get your nails done.
I don't. I should, but maybe that would solve a problem. But what color would I go?
I don't know.
Rebel blue or black? I mean, that's where I am. So,
I like both of those options, so
right.
we're good
But,
with
That's
you
good.
keyed on something. If you control your money and you budget that money, you can make priorities like hair, nails, shoes. If those are your, goals,
Right.
you can make those things a reality. So we're in the school systems, and we're talking to a demographic that may not be as sophisticated, right? Now we're also going to talk about the elder community and how financial literacy is huge for those people as well. But I wanted to show you something. We've had to drill down the concepts, because when you say financial literacy, it just hits a wall. People don't get it.
Right.
We've landed on your money, or I'm sorry, your power, your money.
Yeah.
I love that. That
And,
is nice.
This
I
is
really like that.
something we give these shirts out when we do a workshop. It's a really interesting concept. So we're trying to drill it down to an understandable language level, and not make it intimidating.
Right.
And make it inclusive is really the word.
You had mentioned something beforehand about how you all were taught how to write out a deposit slip or how to even do these things in cursive, learning
Write
a
a
little
check.
something about financial literacy
do a little
in
cursive pop
elementary
test.
school,
I
right?
bet Lindsay Hall has no cursive skills. No, you're right. I'm old enough that, in school we were taught, how to write out a deposit slip, and the whole concept of banking, that you put your money in this bank, it is secure and protected by the government up to $250,000. It's also true in the credit unions as well. But when you use Cash App and some of these other things, your money's not protected. So we were taught to write checks, understood the banking system and the value that it held. But flash forward to today, people don't have the trust.
Right.
Were you
of
taught that,
institutions.
Aviana? Did
No,
you learn
not
that
at
in
all.
school?
I didn't learn
No.
that at all.
We
I
learned
learned
things
from
like calculus.
I just
and
learned from life
trigonometry.
experience, though. You know,
Yeah.
how to go to banks. My mom taught me how to get out and, you know, pay a bill or something in that nature,
Yeah.
or try to budget money in that way, but
And
never in
luckily,
school.
you had family
Right.
to teach you that.
Mhm.
Some people may not have family that teaches them those great skills.
That you definitely need to
Well,
carry with you.
Necessary
So
skills.
from
Yes.
the young person's point of view, school-age kids and even high schoolers, understand these concepts can make the difference. It
Mhm.
can make your life better. So we're trying to do that. We're also trying to get into non-traditional communities. We've been to a rehab type unit where, again,
Interesting.
you don't think about that. I mean, you're in a
Right.
situation there trying to make yourself better. Then the missing piece is when you come out and you try to, re-engage in the regular world, you need some skills.
Mhm.
So we've gone in and done some non-traditional things as well as the schools. But, one of the things we want to move forward on are like fraud in the elder community. Older people are susceptible. They may have money. And, you got to understand who you're donating your money to,
Right.
where it's going.
Watching out for
That's
those
very
scams.
And the
important,
scams
yeah.
are out there. I mean, I guess last week we had one that really kind of affected the whole community. I believe I got a text that said Lauderdale County needs you to call right away. Well,
Yeah.
So interesting. I
Or
don't
Or the
even know
more
how
recent
people
ones
do
like
that.
the UPS packages, or
Yep. Yep.
not at your door, or put in your address. So you definitely have to watch out for scams when you're talking about your money in
Personal
general, because
information.
people are out there trying to get it.
They are.
People are crazy.
Yeah.
And the IRS is not going to call you
Mhm.
and ask you for your social security number or
Right.
any information like that.
Right.
That's where these scammers, and it's deep and wide. It's everywhere. Almost everything you come in contact with on the internet and social media has potential. So you just have to be informed.
Right.
Yes,
Right?
that's so important. So you mentioned individuals getting out of rehab, or maybe they've been in a bad situation
Yep.
and they're trying to make their life better. What if they have a ton of debt and they have to crawl out of that hole because they're getting back into the world, but maybe they've had to pay medical costs or things like that, so they
That's
have
right.
thousands of dollars of debt. How do they budget and get on with their lives and get out of that hole so they can thrive?
It again comes down to setting goals, short-term, long-term goals. A short-term goal may be, for instance, I want to improve my credit so I can buy a car. Long-term might be, buying a home, unfortunately, or going to college. So you really have to take control of your situation and understand that you're in progress to a better place, right?
I like that.
And it's it's hard. It was hard for me to understand these things, and now this is just a really very, very interesting position for me to be in, to try to teach these concepts. And again, it's just a different world, and we all have to have some control. So it's the same concept. We're trying to teach folks that are restarting their lives, and this could be the prison community, veterans.
Yeah,
And again,
really
let's touch on
anybody.
that. Veterans who, are committing suicide. This is an epidemic, of untold proportions in our country. What brings about that despair? It may be the war, the PTSD, the things that you experience, but then when you come back, this is one way to help rebuild your life and make sure that it's, you're living well.
Right, because
So-
you can control your money. That is
Yeah,
something
you
that you
can.
do have control over. Even though it's hard. I know it's hard for me. I told Aviana I'm an impulse buyer.
Me
If
as
it's
well.
sparkly
Okay.
and pretty, I buy it, and then
Uh-huh.
I get home and I'm like,
Yeah.
did I really need that?
But you touched on something about good credit, or needing good credit. What does that mean, and why is credit important for us to make these purchases like cars and homes?
So I think the Ramsey Foundation has a tendency to teach that cash is power,
Right.
because when you spend cash, although go out in the public
It
and
is
try to spend
power.
cash, and some of the young folks at counters look at you like,
What is this?
Right.
Stuff?
But it's science. You will spend less money if it's cash,
Right,
because you have
yeah.
a threshold.
It's
right?
leaving your hand. You're
Right.
not swiping plastic.
And so, trying to spend all cash and no credit, it may be realistic for some people, but it's not for others.
Not
And
most
here's
people.
where we get you. And I say we, I mean the industry. If you don't have a credit score above a certain amount, you're not going to qualify at a baseline for most loans. And things like, these check cashing services that are out there are extremely predatory. And, I'm sorry to say it, it is a really risky thing because you're overextending yourself from the beginning, and it's really hard to get out of that cycle, right? But, again, cash is a difficult thing to use, but it really helps you control what you're doing. And, you've got to get in between where we are today and what is best for you.
Right.
So credit, even though we're going to say don't get a big credit card and run it up, credit is a way that gives you the power to buy a car, unless you're going to pay cash full value.
I figured that out. Like when I got out of college and I was trying, can't remember what I was trying to buy. I think it was a car. It was a car from somebody else, so I needed a loan from the credit union in order to purchase it from that person. And they were like, "Ma'am, you don't have a credit score." And I was like, "I don't have any debt."
Bingo.
But I have been brought up in the Dave Ramsey mindset that credit is bad. You only need to save up your cash. However, that is true if you can do that. But I needed a car to get to my job to make money. So I had to make that purchase, and I needed that loan, and I needed credit. And so they suggest to get a very small secured credit card.
That's right.
And I literally would just use it for my gas. And within 3 to 4 months, I had a great credit score because I didn't have any debt, and I had been paying that credit card off. But it's just very tempting to spend it on other things, so you can't do that.
Well, credit unions in particular, we're geared to come in and offer you a small credit builder loan, couple of $100, let you pay that back, do it again, pay it back, and then you've established some credit that can be reported to the bureaus so that you have a rating that's favorable enough to lend you money.
And I feel like young people need to know that because I did not know, and it set me back. I was really in a bind because I always thought credit was bad, but you need credit. You need credit.
And the better your credit is, the less your car notes could be, the less you have to pay these notes every month.
The less you have to spend.
Right. And the less the less you have to spend coming out of your pocket with your great credit. So yeah.
Well, and keep an eye on what First Mississippi is doing. Our website is it's firstmississippi.com, but it is spelled stms.com.
Let's see if we can pull it up for you.
We'll show people the website.
We're constantly updating that with information, and more of the financial literacy will be out there.
Yeah.
But it's called Green Path on our website. Now it's for 18 and above, but it's a service that we offer to our members, and when you go and sign up, they can help you raise your credit score, help you with some financial things.
Oh, that's great. What's it called?
Green
Path.
And you can find it on
the website.
1stms.com.
And Aviana is pulling it up now to show everybody.
She's trying to get that credit.
I know. Look, we need the tips. I need the tips. I'm not the best with money.
And I'll tell you, we have a really compelling story of a member who shared with us that he was incarcerated, and when he came back to town, nobody would touch him. He just couldn't get there.
Right.
He came to us. We, gave him a small loan. The scenario I just went through
to get his credit
Eventually, we had his credit up. He was able to buy a car. He was able to get a job, and now he has a prosperous, healthy family.
That's
and
awesome.
it's all about giving people that opportunity.
Yes.
Now he's not making a bad choice there.
All right, we have the website pulled up.
There you go.
You can visit this website. It's what is it?
1stms.com.
Mississippi Federal Credit Union.
TMS.com.
Federal Credit.
First Mississippi.
That's it. And you were
Federal
talking about Green Path, and we're going to scroll down and see.
It's down on the bottom.
There it is.
If you're a
Green
member of
Path.
the credit union, that is a free service to our members.
Okay.
There's also a car buying service on here. But,
Awesome.
it's all about the information and acquainting yourself with, what's going on today and what works best for you.
Absolutely.
That's great. So that's a check of their website. Again, we're going to scroll back up to the top so you all can see what the top of the page looks like, so you can make sure you're on the right website. That is 1stms.com. First Mississippi Federal Credit Union. Go check their page out. Get you some good tips on there. Again, Green Path. You got to scroll down a little bit. Here, I'm going to show you one more time. Scroll down, down, down. And there it is. Then you can click there, learn more. And it'll bring up some great financial wellness tips also. So there's the website.
Give us a call. Ask for me or Crystal Clark, my marketing specialist.
Okay.
And you may have seen the First Mississippi Bucks So
Yeah.
this is a program we started along financial literacy. We know that the $25 membership fee could be a barrier for some people. And so that $30 note gives you the $25 membership fee and then puts $5 in a starter account. So it's really great for young people starting out. It not only gets them the membership, but and all the benefits that come with that. And there it is on the screen. And then you can,
There it is.
go from there with
Yeah.
$5 in a starter account. So if you're a grandparent, you want to start your grandkids out, start an account with a little money in there and teach them. If you've got a lemonade stand or you're walking dogs or cutting grass,
Absolutely.
put that money in the bank. It will grow, but it helps you control your future.
I have one last question
Okay.
for you. Okay. What is the difference? Why should people be members of a credit union instead of a bank? Like, what is the difference?
Well,
That's a great question.
I
It is a
personally
good
have always
question.
wondered because they're very similar. You still
Well, they
have
really are.
savings and checking account. and-
Most credit unions, or if not all, were formed because of certain employment groups, like the hospital
Okay.
was our baseline. I believe Meridian Mutual was school teachers. So you would find a common bond in workers in particular who would bond together, deposit all their money. Then that money is used to loan out to other members. So you really become a union, a credit union. That gives you the ability to borrow money, gives you the ability to have all the services that you would have in a bank. This industry is fee-based. We're all fee-driven, but again, we're pretty empathetic. If the ATMs are down, and you get a fee at another institution, we'll help you out with that.
Yeah.
So credit unions are just a group of people bonded together, and of course now it's way bigger, right, than
Yeah.
it was, and credit unions do consolidate and condense, so you see that a lot. The real difference is people helping people, and I know that sounds
So it's
kind
more
of slogany.
personal. It's
It
more
really
personal.
is. It really
Okay.
is.
Well, interesting.
So I got one more question. Sorry, Anna. So let's say somebody's watching right now. They got all their information, but they're still like, I really don't know how this process would go. Let's say this person walks into your office today. How do they start? Where do they start, or what's the next process into
Well,
that? If
first
we
of all,
want
you
to grow
have to
their
be a
credit.
member,
Okay.
right? So if you come into the credit union, and eventually, we have a lot of financial technology on our website now. You can remote deposit a check. You can transfer money from institution to institution or person to person.
right.
You come in, you become a member,
Okay.
and then from there, we do have a dedicated person who can help you build your finances. We, can do workshops to help you understand how to use the technology and some of the best practices. But really, it's about coming in and becoming a member.
Okay, that's the first step.
Mhm.
That's the first step. So make
Yep.
sure if you are watching this live and you see it later on and you're like, I want to grow my credit, I want to be more financially sound, I want to learn all of these great tools and do it through a federal credit union, then make sure that you go down there and you become a member. That's step number one, and they're going to take care of you from there. Jerome
That's
and
it.
his team.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, do y'all have any questions? Because he said he would be willing to answer some of your questions free of charge.
Right now,
Right
right
now.
here.
The free part, I'm not.
Oh, you don't know?
I'm not
We'll
sure.
cover the
Yeah.
cost for y'all. We got you.
We got y'all covered.
So if y'all have any questions and this is the time to ask them. Y'all can drop them in the chat. We're going to be monitoring them. We want to thank you so much for coming,
Listen,
giving
I'm
us some
delighted.
great tips and tools here. And we also want to thank Meridian Community College for sponsoring this digital news desk so we can stay connected with you all and bring in people from our community to help give y'all those life-changing and life-saving tips that you may just need to know. So again, we're continuing to monitor the chat here, making sure that you all if you do have any questions, that you can drop them there. And we're just going to hang out for a few more minutes before we end it. You go ahead.
And what I'll wrap up with, you can watch right here on WTOK, Financial Fitness Friday.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Hosted by my marketing specialist, Miss Crystal Clark. She's becoming famous. I'm telling you, don't go to a school with her now because the paparazzi.
The kids are
the-
running.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yes.
that's every Friday. It's
And it's a
in
great segment. It's in Good Morning Meridian
Yeah,
as
right.
well as the midday show, so you
midday.
can catch it there every
elevating
Friday.
Midday.
So matter of
you know.
fact, tomorrow,
Get a new tip every
if you
Yeah.
haven't seen Financial Fitness Friday, you can catch it tomorrow on Good Morning Meridian and the midday show. So y'all be on the lookout for that.
You can always go to our website or to our YouTube channel where content's being loaded constantly. And I'll let you know that we will be starting a radio show on Super Talk 103.3, which will also become a podcast. That starts, I think, April 5th.
Okay, so
And it'll be
soon.
a 9 o'clock in the morning kind of thing. And, again, it'll be the same discussions that we are having now. But
I
we'll
think
be able
that's
to
great.
take it all the way through the Ramsey Foundation, content. And, and I don't know if we mentioned this. We've put that content in the school system. So Quitman will be hiring a staff member to teach it. Meridian High
That's
is
great.
using it now. Ninth
That is
graders-
what we need.
Yeah.
That's right. So the
That's-
curriculum is going to be there for our educators to take that and give them the resources and tools. So
Yeah.
we're really proud of that. And
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey's a huge fan of credit unions. I didn't know that. I learned something too.
Yeah, that is so wonderful. So we're going to show you all the website one more time as we continue to monitor the chat to see if you have any questions. And if you didn't learn a lot here, that's okay. You can watch the podcast. You can catch the Financial Fitness Fridays every Friday here on Good Morning Meridian. And then Jerome said the podcast will start what day now?
Well, April 5th is when the radio show, 9
Okay.
a.m. April 5th. That's a Friday.
Okay.
So you're
Got
gonna,
you.
on Friday, you're going to learn something whether you want to or not. We got
Yes.
Financial Fitness Friday. We got a radio show.
You always
A lot
need
of
to
things.
learn. Always.
Yeah,
You're never
absolutely.
too old to learn.
Especially
a new
when it comes
money
to talking
tip.
about money. Exactly. I was
Woo,
going to say
yes.
that, Anna. You took the words out my mouth. All right, y'all. I think we're going to wrap up here. But if you do have any questions, you can still put them in the chat. We will be checking on it. We'll send them over to Jerome, and hopefully you all can contact him personally. You got an email that you want to
Yep.
give to the people?
Sure. J. Trahan, JTRAHAN at firstmississippi.com. That's 1STMS.com. Or call the credit union. I'm not that hard to.
And
I can't hide
ask for
anymore.
him. Yes, sir.
Well,
Thank you for having me,
we
guys.
appreciate
Yes, thank
you
you
coming
for
on. I
coming.
really hope that y'all benefited from this, learned some things. I definitely did.
I learned something.
Yeah.
Become a member. That's the first step. Remember, come down to the credit union. If you want to get your credit together, get your finances in order, make sure you become a member. Thank you all for joining us on our digital news desk. Again, Jerome, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming
Well,
to share
enjoyed it.
your knowledge.
Yep.
And Anna, I think we out.
I think A&A is out.